Today, Pastor Don McDonker will be coming up to share with us.
Amen.
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 The principle of sowing and reaping. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Let's put our hands together for the Lord. Oh, this morning was really good.
Amen.
I don't know about you, but
Yes, it was awesome.
it was awesome.
Amen.
Let's put our hands together for the Lord. It was so awesome. I was like, wow. God is in this place.
Yes.
Amen. No, it's good. It's good. Amen.
Amen.
I'm glad to be in his house.
Hallelujah.
Man, they are looking really nice. Congratulations to Vince and welcome to the club. It's a beautiful thing.
Why?
Why is it? Oh, why? Oh, they got married on Saturday. Wow. Well, that's beautiful. Let's put our hands together for them. We are praying that this year we're going to see more of that. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
We've been talking about the kingdom principles, and today I want to talk to you about the principle of sowing and reaping.
Amen.
Amen. Let us go to the book of Galatians chapter 6. We're going to read from verse 7 to 9. It's very amazing how this principle works. Amen.
Amen.
Galatians chapter 6, verse 7 to 9. Amen. God is wonderful. Galatians chapter 6.
Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. For he who sows to his flesh will of the flesh reap corruption. But he who sows to the Spirit will of the Spirit reap everlasting life.
Amen.
And let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart.
Amen.
Amen. Did you hear that? This is powerful. I want us to read it again because the principle speaks for itself. It doesn't need any explanation. Let's read. Honey, just read it again. Yes.
Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap.
Okay, stay there for a minute. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, this is guaranteed.
So don't fool yourself, huh?
As guaranteed as every man will die, this is that guarantee. He said, do not deceive yourself. It is so guaranteed. He's telling you, don't lie to yourself. Because God is not mocked. He has a principle that the principle cannot change because of anything. Amen.
Amen.
For whatever a man sows, whatever, whether you did it in light or in darkness, behind the scenes, before the scenes, at the back, at the front, on the north side, on the south, the west, the east, in the middle, whatever. Amen.
Amen.
That he will also reap. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Let's continue.
For he who sows to his flesh will of the flesh reap corruption.
Did you hear that? If you sow to the flesh, of which that is going on in the world all over, then surely you will reap of what? Corruption.
But he who sows to the Spirit will of the Spirit reap everlasting life.
Did you hear that? The key thing that I love about it is, but he who sows to the Spirit will of the Spirit reap everlasting life. The life that is everlasting. Let's continue. Verse 9.
And let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart.
And this key here is so important, because the people, they are good people, but they do good and they get to a point they say they are tired. It's like people are taking advantage of me. No. You are sowing into your life.
Amen.
You are sowing into your future. For he said that we should not be deceived, that everything that we sow, we will reap. So don't worry if they're taking advantage of you. Let them take advantage of you. They will find out that they made a mistake. He's saying that do not grow weary while doing good. Amen.
Amen.
For in due season, when you need it the most. Sometimes it's not you. Sometimes your kids.
Yes, definitely.
Because this due season here, it's more than you.
It goes beyond.
It goes beyond you. Beyond even your children. That in due season. You guys remember the story of Solomon when Solomon was acting up. God came to Solomon and said, Solomon, if not your father David. That was due season. Amen.
Amen.
So whatever you are doing, think about that. Don't go weary because they are taking advantage of you, because nobody is helping, because nobody is appreciating you. It's not about somebody appreciating you. Amen.
Amen.
It's about doing good for the good of the Lord. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
And for in due season, we shall reap if we do not lose what? Heart. Amen.
Amen.
A word to the wise is enough. Whatever we sow, we are going to reap it. Amen.
Amen.
So let us sow into the things of the Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
And if we do not go worried about doing stuff and nobody's doing, or nobody's appreciating, or whatever, then in due season, when you need it the most, or your descendants need it the most, He will provide.
He sure will. Amen.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Grace, do you want to add anything to it before we close?
Yeah, I think an example, and I've shared this story before, but it stays with me. A gentleman who befriended you had said his mother was a giver, like a crazy giver, and they didn't have much. She was a single mother, and pretty much they waited on their meal from day to day based on what she would go to the market and make. And it just so happened the son was gifted intellectually and got scholarship to further his education. And he's PhD now. And she said that the mother would always cook food and give away, and the kids will get upset with her, like, well, what are you doing? We don't even know what we're going to eat tonight. You know, and she would always say, God will provide. You know, she would look out for the Fulani herdsmen, and when they come around with their sheep or cows, because they're herding, some of them are walking thousands of miles from Mali, just coming through to where their herd can find some grain, you know, something to eat. We don't speak the same language. They couldn't communicate, but every time she sees them, she grabs water, cooks some food, and gives to them to eat. And the kids just could not understand it. And the mother passed away early. So I think by the time he got scholarship to go to somewhere in Eastern Europe, the mom had already passed. But guess what? God made a way for him. He said there was a woman that would always cook, and like for the week, and give it to him. Cook, bake goods, everything. And he could not understand. He said, this is the weirdest thing. This woman has taken me like her son. And she's always making sure that I have food to eat. And she said that's when it dawned on her that the good that her mother had done, the mom may not have seen the fruits of it, but he definitely had benefited from it and was reaping from it. So that story really stuck with me. You know, when you're doing the good, it feels like, what are you doing? You know, but the mom never knew the son was going to go to a foreign country where he really needed help. He didn't have a father or a mom to send him money for food, but God found him somebody to provide that. Amen? Amen.
Amen. Amen. And I think that guy also got a family here to adopt him.
Yes. When he came to the U.S. again to get his PhD, he had a host family, very well-off family, out like little past Conroe. That took him in again like a son. You know, grown man with children, but still God finds a way to find him a family that he can bond with. So it looks like everywhere he goes, God finds him a family. Amen?
I mean, God is good. God is good. God is good. And through that, through the goodness of the mother, we also enjoy some of the blessings upon this man's life. Because he introduced me to somebody that really helped me. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. You know, this young man is a professor now, somewhere in the East Coast. Mm-hmm. And God is good. So whenever you're doing good, just do good, you know, for God's sake, okay? And you don't know when your paycheck will be coming. Amen.
Amen.
When it comes back, it will be great. Amen. Let's put our hands together for the Lord, and let's say hi to one another. Amen.